Oh,
there's the button.
oh. Travis and Taylor sitting in the tree. K-I. Oh, we're on. Oh, hi. so how much higher can the Miami Dolphins go? Conversely, how much lower can the Chicago Bears go? And what the hell went wrong with the Cowboys? We're going to try to answer those questions and many more as we get you ready for week 4 of NFL and fantasy. It's the show you know. It's the show you love. It's Fantasy Football Fever. It starts right now. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Football Fever. It is Tuesday night, September 26, 2023. Hope everyone's doing okay. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And what a crazy weekend of football it was. Of course, my name's Tim McClellan. Of course, I got my buddies to help me get over this thing here. Got our commissioner, John Vitale.
Hello.
We got the host of Hooked on Sports, John Flynn.
Hello, guys. I'm running the StreamYard tonight for once.
And you're doing quite well. And of course, this guy down here is our good friend, our defending, wait a minute, let me say, the reigning, undisputed, the conquering, defending league champion, Mr. Andrew St. Clair. Are those new glasses you got there, Andrew?
No, they're the same ones.
Same ones? Okay. Well, you look good anyway, bro.
Thank you.
Well, anyway, we got a whole lot to cover, and while we just go ahead and get this game started, so Flynn, if you'll fire up that machine right there, we will go into our fantasy previews here. Let me get that one sticker up there in the upper right-hand corner. There we go. Of course, we have our league on ESPN.com. And looking back at last week's action, we had Mr. Flynn taking down Mr. Casey by a score of 164 to 146, thanks to Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and is that Eddie McPherson?
Evan McPherson, the kicker for the Bengals.
The kicker for the Bengals. Boy, Bengals. I'm not quite sold on those all white jerseys, those all white uniform. I'm not quite sold on those anyway. But anyway, Mr. Flynn took the victory there. We had the Beavis Blasters over the OWA Superstars, 126-1 to 118.56, thanks in part to the Beavis Blasters big three there.
And I think this is worthy of putting up the box score here to really to hold down exactly what happened here because look, Adam got a victory week 1 because the Cowboys defense did so well, put up like 40 fantasy points against the Giants, but the Cowboys defense not being the way it was supposed to was the reason Adam Oliver lost on Sunday. Because the Cowboys have put up 40 points week 1. They put up I think 20 points last week, and this week just 2 fantasy points. So
yeah, as Charles Barkley would say, that's terrible.
Yeah, and I think to make matters worse for Adam, look, I want you guys to look at everything he left on his bench. DJ Moore. I mean, Dak, although he started Mahomes, so the quarterbacks don't really matter for this one. TJ Edwards has had like 17 tackles. He was on the bench. Tyler Higbee had 12 points. He was on the bench. The Bengals defense, the one he benched in favor of the Cowboys, had 16 points, which is crazy.
Adam.
Yeah, I mean,
Bless
I mean,
that guy's heart. Mind-boggling.
yeah, but at this point, we might as well. But anyway, here's next box score, Tim.
Oh yeah, let's dive deeper into this battle. It was built for tough. I guess that refers to Jerome Ford, the backup running back for Cleveland. 152.8 to 143.54. Our friend Alex is 0-3 so far. Let's take a look at the points up there. See a little breakdown. Jerome Ford, a very respectable 19.1 points over his projected total.
Yeah.
That Zay Flowers, that rookie receiver for Baltimore, I think he's starting to turn my head a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Zay Flowers. I banged the drum on Zay Flowers in the draft process. I think he looked really good for Boston College. He was like their best player. I mean, on an otherwise terrible team, and I think, and even though the Ravens lost in inexplicable fashion last week, a couple of days ago, Zay Flowers is helping out Lamar Jackson in the passing game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing that rescued Natalie.
I was just about to go to that. I was just looking at that. They were projected at 10.9, 34.0. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and that I mean, if the Bills' defense wasn't majestic the way they were, chances are that the amount of undefeated teams in our league is 0. But because of that, Natalie is 3-0.
And as we always say,
not only that, look who Alex left on the bench.
I know we're gonna get to that in a second, but which is crazy because Devontae Adams had 42.2 points despite losing to the Steelers. But Tim, this tells the tale about. Look at what Keenan Allen did, and you left him on the bench.
Keenan Allen, 47.46 points.
And he threw a touchdown pass also.
Yeah.
Then, I present you the new quarterback of the LA Chargers, Keenan Allen.
I mean, he's going to have to play wide receiver for a while because one of our hot topics is related to the Chargers coming up in just a little bit.
That's right.
That's right. So that's basically how that matchup shook up.
Yeah, and Jareth McKinnon's two touchdown passes responsible for more than 2/3 of the points that the tie would have gotten from McKinnon had he left him on the bench.
Yeah, he's that one player.
Anyway, here was the next result.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I had the highest point total in fantasy this past week. 168.8.
Yeah, you would be correct, Mr. Tim.
58 over my man Lucas. And looks like I knew I had to start A.J. Brown. I knew Isaiah Pacheco would be a bargain. Bijan Robinson, hey, he's a rookie. He'll get there. Raheem Mostert, good thing I picked him up when I did. Look at those points for Raheem Mostert. Projected at 14.1, he ended up with 45.2.
Yeah, and did you see the number? The final point total of Devon Achane? 51 points from him. It was crazy what the Dolphins did.
Absolutely. That's something to say. I'll bet you anything Alex is just going to eat shit over that game, you know.
I mean, of course he would. I mean, he's going to be in Buffalo this weekend for the Dolphins Bills game with our friend Mr. Garrison.
Mr. Bear. That is going to be a game that I would definitely pay to see. I would
Yeah.
definitely see those two teams right there.
Yeah, and Lucas had some the guys he needed to contribute. Yeah, I mean Kirk Cousins 31.68 points. I mean Jamar Chase finally broke out 26 points because he had 12 catches for 140 plus yards. So Zaire Franklin gave him 17 points. And then in terms of the coulda, woulda, shouldas, I mean, Sam Laporta is looking like a big stud, and he's looking like a viable trade candidate for you if you want to keep Dallas Goedert. I think you can get a haul back for Sam Laporta if you're looking at a trade.
I think I may keep Dallas Goedert for now. I might. I think I might keep Micah Parsons. Yeah, but of course I have to get rid of one player for an obvious reason, and that's another one of our hot topics we'll be talking about right there.
Yeah, you could talk about my team in the other league, in my other league because I lost Saquon Barkley and David Montgomery in the same week, which I'm not happy about at all. And I knew I was going to kick myself for not drafting Tony Pollard when I had the opportunity to. But I digress.
Anyway, in our last matchup, it was David St. Dennis, aka Captain Rocket, taking the close win over the defending champion Andrew by a score of 140.46 to 136.76. And looking down at the point totals there, Tua time was big time, of course.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Andrew, 36.36 points was not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough for Andrew, right, Andrew?
Yeah, he should have stayed for at least another instead of how many touchdowns? 5. He should have stayed for maybe 6 or 7, and maybe that's enough.
Yes, he threw for 4 touchdowns. But of course, Miami they needed to rest Tua after that because they have a big game in Buffalo next week,
Right.
which could be a very big game in determining the balance of power in the AFC East.
Definitely. Almost like when like late in the fourth quarter, or when the fourth quarter started, I guess they decided to bench Patrick Mahomes and put in Blaine Gabbert. He's still in the league.
Yeah,
But anyway, looking at these numbers here, well, he could have gotten 23 from Josh Allen, but he can only start one quarterback, though. Alvin Kamara should be. No, he's going to be coming back in week 5. So that's basically.
yeah, but
now, as we preview our week 4 matchups, oh yeah,
there we go.
Okay, there we go. Oh, we have someone saying hello. Oh, our buddy Dashy. Hey, Dashy, how you doing, bud? Got the win. Bengals defense allowed 16, allowed 1 touchdown, sacked 976 times, intercepted twice. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. And can anybody translate that?
Yeah, that's probably Chinese or Japanese. So no.
Sorry, we don't know what you're saying, but we do thank you for watching anyway. So let's go ahead and get into this week's matchups for our league here. So we got John Flynn going up against Alex Putnam. You see the projected totals up there on the screen, 148.1 to 136.7. Looks like Pizzle has the advantage with his quarterback. Running back 1, wide receiver 1, 2, his flex. Meanwhile, Flynn's got James Cook. Gotta have Travis Kelce. I mean, if you got Travis Kelce, that's basically as good as a million in the bank, you know.
No, I mean, especially after the news, after what we all saw on Sunday with Taylor Swift being in the suite in the same suite as Mama Kelsey, and remember, I changed my team name on the night of the draft to 1989 Travis Kelsey's version, and boy, was I ahead of the curve on everybody on the Taylor Swift Travis Kelsey stuff.
So that's the matchup right there. Looking at the bench guys here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have a tough decision with Trevor Lawrence going up against the Falcons and Russell Wilson going up against the Bears. So, I mean, I'm gonna be planning on starting Russell Wilson because that's a matchup I absolutely need to take advantage of.
Oh, wow. I don't think so. Then we got our next matchup this week will be the OWA Superstars versus Team America. It's going to be Adam versus Lucas.
Let's pull up that because I think there's a little glitch that has our rosters on, but but he obviously has the quarterback advantage of Patrick Mahomes, but Lucas has the edge of the with both of his running backs. I mean, he has Mark Andrews at the tight end position. Darren Wall could be a boom for Adam when it's all said and done here. So, so you could definitely take that for whatever it's worth. So, so here's the next one.
Next one is the Beavis Splashers against the Georgia Crushers, and right now the projection is very close. Blasters at 137.7 to Georgia Crushers 132.4. Looks like right now the Blasters' big three will be Justin Herbert.
Yeah, let me take this one here. Flynn, I have both Tua and who do I know? Allen as my start. Who you think I should have my starting quarterback this week?
Oh my! Oh, you get Tua and Josh Allen. So oh wow, this is a tricky one. So, but oh my God. I'm not Natalia. What do you think, Tua or Allen? Because I don't think.
I have Tua. He's my stardom. Spoiler. He's my stardom quarterback of the week.
Yeah. So I think you think Tua, even though Allen has a higher projected total, but the thing is, the Dolphins are trying to pride themselves on taking the football away, and the biggest weakness in Josh Allen's game is protecting the football because we saw it last year, we saw it week 1 against the Jets, we saw it in the Cincinnati in the playoffs last year against Cincinnati, and
I have this as the highest scoring game of the week, so I don't think you can really go wrong with either one.
Don't remind me of highest scoring game of the week. Ugh.
Yeah,
that was
of course.
And then we got,
but
then we'll have got Casey against Dennis in their matchup, and their projected total is read the same.
Yeah,
John Tally. Oh, we're looking at Tally and myself.
So the two of you are going head to head, Natalie, Tim.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, looks like I'm good with Raheem Mostert, AJ Brown, Courtland Sutton, You mentioned Sam Laporta. I was able to pick him up at a bar. It sounds like a bargain player. Low risk, but maybe a high reward, maybe.
And this matchup features our one particularly features T.J. Hawkinson and Sam Laporta, the top two fantasy tight ends through 3 weeks.
Yeah, they've done very well this year.
Yeah, and of course this will feature Jordan Love, who has been the number 4 fantasy quarterback through 3 weeks. Well, so that was a phenomenal pickup by Mr. John Natale there.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I did it at the very last. I changed my mind at the very last hour. I decided to start Love instead of Fields. That paid off.
Yeah, I mean, both of them their seasons are going in very different directions, and as you can see here, Justin Fields. Then you have, and so really Natale has a lot of expendable trade pieces that he can use to acquire even better players. At whatever positions, like particularly the wide receiver position is where Natale is lacking.
Mm-hmm.
And so because because that's the only position he doesn't have a top player in right now.
Yeah, I decided I'd go ahead and hold on to Dallas Goedert, but I've got him up there, so I'm going to start Sam Laporta for Detroit.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I'm looking at right there.
Yeah, and you have an interesting decision yourself with quarterbacks because you have Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. Because I remember I couldn't believe that you drafted 3 quarterbacks. I mean, 2 of them so early. Because I think the calculus for a couple of our league players were messed up because you took Burrow and Hurts.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm still kind of scratching my head over that. But
yeah.
if I scratch too hard, I may get into my brain here. So now let's take a look at I got Casey and David over here with their matchup this week.
Oh, what's it?
Right now, their projections is a dead heat, 133.4 piece.
Oh, jeez.
But the question is, which one of them is going to flinch first? That's what I want to know. Let's see who they got.
And yes, I beat Casey even though last week, and then of course David took down Andrew, but it looks like David has some matchups in key areas: running back, wide receiver, tight end. So I think this could be a case where Casey's going to have to rely on the game script making Josh Allen throw the ball 45 times because Dalton Kincaid's going to get a good amount of targets. So that's what he's going to need there. But Brock Purdy has been solid, even though his ranking is 14th through the first 3 weeks because there have been some unbelievable quarterback play throughout the course of the season here. But Shaq.
I think we have a translation. I said, very cool. Face consequences if they defend Taiwan from being implicated. Hey, Charlie. Yeah. Charlie, did you let this guy in here? You didn't? He must have snuck past you. I guess he snuck past our security, so we're just going to have to, yeah. We are going to, that's total irrelevancy.
Absolutely.
So, is game out here, Charlie? Yeah, thanks. I owe you one. Okay, so that's basically our fantasy matchups for this week. Before we get into our big matchups, look at the top right-hand corner of your screen. We got another thing here. We got hot topics. Yeah, we have a bunch of them. So, Flynn, Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, you can argue that there was like a lot of zany results that transpired over the course of week number 3 of the National Football League here, and I got to tell you guys that my record of 6-10 picking the winners and losers, and me going 0 for 4 in the solo picks, that had a lot to do with this, but we talked about the Dolphins hanging 70 on Denver, but I got to ask you, Andrew, what about from a Denver perspective? How embarrassed should the Denver Broncos be after that? That giving up 70 points, yet they're still 3.5-point favorites in Chicago on Sunday.
Yeah, when I think about the last time, it's about Super Bowl 24 when they lost to the 49ers 55-10. Look, I know the Broncos are 0-3, and I mentioned to you this already, early in the week, that they should fire the coach already. But you said no. Look, I don't know how the Broncos are 0-3. They should be at least 1-2. They lost their first 2 games barely, but this game, oh my God, it was lopsided right after halftime. I was listening to the game, and after halftime, I said no more, and I turned that off.
Wow.
726 total yards of offense, 70 points. So both win the records for all intents and purposes. It felt like a college game where it was like 81-7 or something like that. But
yeah, just like the same thing with Oregon, Colorado. That's why my title is "You gotta be kidding me."
Yeah, but I mean, you got to be kidding me with that. But and also on the "you got to be kidding me" department, Saints blow a 14-point lead on the road, and 17-0 lead on the road in Green Bay in the fourth quarter. Derek Carr exited the game, and and after that, the Packers came back and won. And Derek Carr has an AC joint sprain, so it is unlikely that he is going to play on Sunday, and he shouldn't play because it's a painful injury to play through. So Jameis Winston is going to be the starting quarterback for your New Orleans Saints on Sunday, and I got to tell you, so that I was really back and forth with this game because it was because this suddenly became a tricky game for me to pick. So you'll see exactly how I feel in the pick segment at the end there, but unacceptable loss by the Saints. Great win by the Packers. Jordan Love looked really good in the fourth quarter. That the rapport that he had with Romeo Doubs and some of the throws he made were so tough and so clutch. But it's really got to be a consistency factor, really, for Jordan Love, because last week he threw 0 fourth quarter yards in the loss against Atlanta, and now he leads this. So we could see the flashes of what Jordan Love what is trying to do here, but it's got to be more consistent in order to warrant a long term picture here for Jordan Love. Which leads me to this next topic in staying in the NFC North. I want to ask you guys, because this is what I said on my podcast today. I said the team that I would rank 32 of 32 in the NFL power rankings, the Chicago Bears. Agree or disagree?
I fully agree.
Yeah. So, so you watch the Bears. What is it about the Bears that's rubbing you the wrong way the most? Is it the quarterback? Is it the coaching? Is it someone else?
Yeah, combination of everything. Like Fields has no line. When he throws too many incomplete passes, gets too many sacks. It's not. I can't really blame him so much. It's the line. He gets no protection.
Yeah, and also the Chiefs' running attack, which was non-existent the first 2 weeks. The Chiefs had 153 yards rushing, which included Isaiah Pacheco, which included Patrick Mahomes running a little bit. Jerry McKinnon coming out of the backfield and doing things. that's a big story. And then of course when we were going through our league preview, we mentioned Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. A game that I couldn't wrap my head around is the Chargers and the Vikings. The Chargers find a way to win, and the Vikings completely botched the end of game sequence there. But big picture, Mike Williams tears his ACL, so his season is over. And if you're a Chargers fan, how do you gotta feel about this?
Yeah, that is rough. And Keenan Allen has injury problems too. If he goes down next, then what?
But see, this is exactly why they drafted Quentin Johnston in the NFL draft, and then the last second to last topic that I have on my thing is how big of a wake up call was the Dallas Cowboys loss, Tim, about a wake up call for Dak Prescott?
It had to be. It had to be a huge wake up call. I mean, the offense was blah. Defense was not much better. And it just proves my point once again. When the Cowboys are trailing, they're getting close, time is running out, and Dak just throws those interceptions. He just cannot handle the pressure. I mean, I have to say, I'm sorry, but if this keeps up, we'll see Dak probably wearing a different uniform next year.
Yeah, and also a bigger problem for me, big picture, especially with Sanford, with the showdown with the 49ers coming up in a couple of weeks. There is a really big red flag here when it comes to the Cowboys for me. And how the hell are they going to stop the run?
Yeah. How are they going to stop the run, especially when you've got Trayvon Diggs out for the season? You've got basically a couple of youngsters maybe taking his spot. I mean, still got Stephon Gilmore on the other end. You got all these young defenders like Parsons, Lawrence, Fowler, and Donovan Wilson, all those guys. But, I mean, to be picked by 12 and a half points and lose by 12, that is a huge head scratching.
Now they have a chance to get right on Sunday against the New England Patriots, but before their showdown at San Francisco against the 49ers, where their most recent season ended in the divisional playoffs. So that was a tough pill to swallow for the Cowboys. But you're right, Tim. Dak Prescott has been the thing that held me back from picking the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl because if you look at the talent the Cowboys have been able to accumulate, the incredible drafting record over the past 6-7 years with drafting the right guys, and they can't seem to have their own way because it's one thing that holds them back. Which is the crazy thing because I really like Mike McCarthy calling the plays, did it seem like the Cowboys? I didn't see the first half of the Cowboy game live, but did it feel like the Cowboys missed Trayvon Diggs on Sunday?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Oh, he's one of the defenders that's probably about as quick as Michael Parsons is.
But I remember saying on the podcast on my other podcast that I still have the expectation of the Dallas Cowboys going to the NFC Championship game, even though they're now down a game against Philadelphia, who won on the Monday night against Tampa. Yeah. That's really where we're going to go on this front. So.
And before we go to our starters and sit-ems, there is one other piece of information. I saw somewhere on Facebook that Sales of Travis Kelce jerseys have skyrocketed about 400%.
He's also gained over 400,000 followers on Instagram as well.
I guess that's what you call the Taylor effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't blame her. I mean, she is one fine gal. I will say that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's time to get you fantasy players a little bit of advice. Time for our weekly edition of starters, sitters, and sleepers. Or starter and sitter, if you want to put it that way. So, Flynn, what advice can you give to us players?
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do this time is to do my picks first. So we're going to do one of each player instead of three, because that's what I told Natalie when he sent his picks in. So I'm going to give you a stardom for week 4 in the NFL. So quarterback, I'm going to go with Russell Wilson of the Denver Broncos. It is such a good matchup for Russell Wilson going up against this offensive to the senses Bears defense. I think Russell Wilson's going to throw for 300 yards. I think he's going to throw for 3 touchdowns. I think this is going to be a monster performance, in my opinion, for Russell Wilson. In terms of running backs, I'm going to start. I would start Kenneth Walker III of the Seattle Seahawks, because I think he has a favorable matchup too, but going up against the Giants on Monday night, because he had a couple of rushing touchdowns against Carolina on Sunday, and I think every reason to me is that he's going to be the bellwether at the running back position. There was some talk during the lead up to our fantasy drafts about Zach Charbonnet being taking a good amount of the load from Kenneth Walker. So far, that has not turned out to be the case. I'm going to start Kenneth Walker if I have him on my fantasy teams. Wide receivers, there are a lot of good ones out there, but I'm gonna go back to the Denver-Chicago game. I think Cortland Sutton is gonna have a monster game going up against the Chicago Bears. In terms of the tight ends, I'm going to go. I'm going to be going along with Tim here, because Tim is drafting Tim picked up Sam Laporta. I think he has a favorable matchup. I think the game script is going to allow. Is going to allow for some big plays late in the game, so I think he's going to have to rely on someone other than Amon-Ra St. Brown, since I think the Packers are going to try to put a lot of focus on him. I think Jair Alexander going up against Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think that's going to force Jared Goff to find other pieces. I mean, Josh Reynolds came up big in the Kansas City game. I think Sam Laporta would come up big in a game like that. In terms of my defense, start him and sit him. I really need. It was a tough one for me to really decipher here, but I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals defense / special teams, because the Bengals finally had a good showing on Monday night last night against the Rams, and I think that Cincinnati pass rush going up against that Tennessee offensive line, I don't think it's going to be a fair fight at all. And then in terms of the kicker, I'm going to start Cameron Dicker of the Chargers, because that feels like it can go a lot of different ways on that front. In terms of the sit-ems for this, my sit-em quarterback for the week is going to come to us from the game between the Commanders and the Eagles, because Sam Howell is ranked 20 right now, ranked 26, and I know that people still think that the Eagles secondary might be exploited, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So my sit-em of the week is going to be Sam Howell. In terms of my running back sit-ems, I'm going to go with this one's a tricky one, but I'm going to go with Najee Harris as the sit-em because I think the Texans are going to be keen on stopping the run here, and I think Jaylen Warren is going to be the more effective running back for the Steelers on that front. In terms of wide receiver sit-ems, I got to go with this one was a tricky one, but I am going to go with Garrett Wilson against the Kansas City Chiefs because I think Wilson is his quarterback has been offensive as well, so I think that's a tough one to swallow on that front. With obviously after the Rodgers injury, that I think Garrett Wilson is not going to be able to get the football because of the play of the quarterback not being able to sustain drives. In terms of the tight end position, this one was a tricky one, but I'm going to as well. But I'm going to set Zach Ertz. I'm going to set Zach Ertz for the Arizona Cardinals because I don't like his matchup going up against those ferocious San Francisco linebackers. I mean, we saw what they did to hold Darren Waller in check and that offense in check. So I'm going to go with Zach Ertz as my sit-em of the week over there. And then in terms of my kicker to sit, I'm going to go with Matt Gay because I feel like it's going to be opportunities that the Colts are going to have to maximize themselves. I know the Rams gave up 18 fantasy points to Evan McPherson, but I feel like there's going to be a game script where the Colts are going to have to score touchdowns late. So I think this is going to be a situation with there that I don't think Matt Gay is going to get many opportunities to kick.
So let's see what Natalia says with the starters and sit-ems.
Sure. All right. We're going to start with the quarterback first. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting candidates here, but my stardom of the week is actually going to be Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins. This is the game where I think is going to have the highest combined points here. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Josh Allen either, but I think he has more of an interception problem than Tua does. So with all the combined points here, I could see Tua getting 3 or 4 touchdown passes. So now going on to the running back side. This is going to be an interesting pick here. I mean, assuming I remember the news correctly, I think Alvin Kamara is slated to come back from his suspension. I believe it was a 3-game suspension, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, if that's the case, and he's back, I think he's going to fill in the role pretty early, considering that Jamal Williams is going to miss time. They're going to need another running back, and I think he's going to fit right in. Now going to the wide receiver side, this one's another interesting one. I picked a Rams player last week. He didn't do so well, but this time I have faith. I'm going to pick another Rams player. I'm going with Tutu Atwell. He reminds me of almost like Taysom Hill a little bit, except for he's not a quarterback or anything like that, but he can run and catch. He's kind of almost like a two-way player, wide receiver, running back. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. And then my quarterback stardom of the week is going to be George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers. Let's see here. Yeah, they're playing the Cardinals, so I'm expecting a lot here. The Cardinals have one of the worst defenses in the league, so I think this is almost a pick 'em. Defense-wise, this is probably a bit of a sleeper here, but I'm actually going with the Tennessee Titans. The Bengals are a bit beat up on the defensive side. They're slowly getting it together, but I don't think they're quite there yet. So for that reason, I'm going to go with the Titans. And this one, my kicker of the week, this one is going to be an interesting one. I'm going with Graham Gano of the New York Giants. And although there's a lot of bad juju when the Giants play Monday Night Football, they have trouble scoring touchdowns during those times. But for some reason, they get nothing but field goals. So I think Gano is a safe bet there. Now let's pivot over to the Situms. Yeah, my Situm of the week, pains me to say it because he's on my fantasy team, but Justin Fields. He is having a bit of a rough one. I can't put a lot of blame on him. It's mostly his line that's not protecting him. He doesn't really have many passing options. The only one out there is DJ Moore, but he hasn't really been that impressive either. I mean, I'm not saying he's droppable yet, but if he keeps this up, he just might be. The same thing is going to go for this running back. My running back Situm of the week is actually going to be Dalvin Cook of the New York Jets. He's virtually been non-existent. He's gotten less than 10 points, I believe, each game that he's played so far. No touchdowns. He hasn't done really much of anything. I mean, you could probably put Breece Hall into that equation too. Neither one of them are droppable by any means just yet. But if both of these guys are going to get their act together, now is the time. Which brings me to my Situm wide receiver of the week. A follow-up to Justin Fields would be DJ Moore. He hasn't really done much either. So, like I said, not really his fault. The Bears are a hot mess. No offensive line to protect either of them. Let's see. Tight end Situm of the week is going to be Hayden Hurst of the Carolina Panthers. This one was kind of a toss-up, but I mean, both the Panthers and the Vikings are a hot mess. So you're probably not going to get too much airtime from any of the Panthers players. You're probably going to see a bunch of field goals from them. If they do get any touchdowns, it's probably going to be on the ground. And Situm defense of the week is going to be the New England Patriots. This is the perfect time for the Dallas Cowboys to get their act together. And I think they're definitely going to pounce on New England like crazy. And my Situm of the week is going to be Konami Fairbairn of the Texans. Let's see. Yeah, I think the Steelers' defense is just too good. I don't see him getting that many opportunities kicking-wise. He'll probably only get maybe one field goal, two if he gets lucky. Those are mine for the week.
Very, very interesting out there, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and there's your week's four starters and situms for all you fantasy players out there like us. So hopefully you'll make right choices to help you win your league matchup this week. And now it's time for our NFL matchups. So we found that little sticker.
Tim, I hate to do this to you.
Yes.
But I'm getting a bit tired here, so if you'd be so kind here, I'd like to make my my picks here for the week before I log off for the night.
I have no objections if the other guys don't.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. Why don't we go ahead and put Andrew on the solo layout?
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah. Spotlight's on you before you hit the set.
Thank you. Okay. First game, Packers Lions. Lions 1.5 here. I see Lions win this one. Give me the Lions 27-20. Next game, we got Jaguars and Falcons. Jaguars up by 3. This one's be a close one. I think it's going to go right to the end here. Give me the I see this one as a steal. Give me the Falcons to actually beat the Jaguars 21-17. That's my first sleeper of the week. Next game we have Bills Dolphins. Bills up by 3. As mentioned here, you have both Allen and Took. I can't pronounce his name. For Miami here. This one's going to go back and forth. I don't see the Dolphins getting so many points like they did last week. No, I think this will make a close one. Going right to the end here. Give me the Dolphins here, 28-24. Next, we got Panthers Vikings here. Vikings ahead by 3.5. I don't see much happening here. This one, maybe not necessarily garbage here, but give me the Vikings here, 21-14. Next, we got Bears Broncos here, 2-3 teams. So one of them's going to finally get the win, unless they end up being in a tie. 3.5 here. Flynn says he has Russell Wilson as his big starter for a quarterback for the weekend. Okay. So I'll give the benefit of the doubt, and I'll say the Broncos beat the Bears in a very close game, 21-14. Next game, we got Browns-Ravens here. Browns ahead by 3.5 here. But, well, I'm going to be at the home field advantage here. Give me the Ravens here by 3, 20-17. Next game, Texans at the Steelers here. Steelers by 3. I see the Steelers hold the spread here. Give me the Steelers 28-21. Next game, we got Colts and Rams here. Okay. Colts ahead by 1.5. Colts are, they're seeing right now, so the Rams here, but I'll give the Colts here the win. I'm going to give the Colts here, I'm going to say 35-21. That's a bit high score. Next game we have is the Saints and the Bucks, as my dad would like to say it here. I'm Saints ahead by 3. I'm 24-21 Saints. Next, Eagles Commanders. Eagles by 8.5 with the Commanders. 10 points ahead, but give me the Eagles by 11 points, 21-10. Next, Titans Bengals by 2.5. Give me the Bengals by 7, 28-21. Next, Chargers Raiders here. This will be a good game here. Chargers ahead by 6 here. Give me the Chargers here by 14, 28-14. Next, Cowboys Patriots here. Cowboys ahead by 6.5 here. I see this as the advantage being more than give me the Cowboys here by let's say 13 points, 23-10. Next, 49ers at the Cardinals. 49ers ahead by 14 here. Okay. I see no one beat the 49ers for a while. Give me the 49ers by 21 points, 35-14. Next, we have the Jets and the Chiefs. So tonight here, Chiefs ahead by 9.5. I like the odds here. Give me the Chiefs here by 14, 20-14. Finally, Monday night, we have Giants and Seahawks. Giants ahead by 1.5. And I can make this one here. Give me the Giants here by 7, 20-21. Those are my picks for the week here. And Tim, my lock for the week, in case you want to know, is I have the 49ers beating the Cardinals here. That is my lock for the week. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you very much, Mr. St. Clair.
And good night, everyone.
Good night, Mr.
Yeah. I'll be here for another 15 minutes, and then I have to leave myself.
Okay, well, I guess I can just go ahead and take a little break. Flynn, if you want to take over for the next few minutes, I'll be right back. Flynn's muted.
Here we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll be
So.
right back, folks.
Alrighty, let's talk a little bit about each of the projected matchups here. We got the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. I mean, so we have Jared Goff, who's ranked number 9. We have Jahmyr Gibbs, who is projected at 17.1, the highest number currently of anyone on either roster. You see Jordan Love. I think this is 16.8 points is a reflection of how well he's played over the first couple of weeks. He's been consistent, but he's been but 2 of the last 2 weeks he got the job done. And Aaron Jones is questionable for Sunday, so I think that's going to remain to be seen how that's going to go. We have the Falcons and the Jaguars. The Falcon because Tyler Algier, I think his numbers went down a little bit. So did Bijan Robinson's with the Falcons' loss to Detroit, and then Travis Etienne, which is I have in our league I have both Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne on that front. But I think it feels like the Falcons are going to need some more from Desmond Ridder, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it might be a little rough because they're going to be playing on a whole new field. I think this is game being played in Germany or London.
London, yes.
London. Because that's going to be a new adaptation, new feel for both of them. New feel for everyone.
Right. Yeah, then we have the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. And I think ESPN is drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid, in my opinion, on Devon Achane after his 51-point performance on Sunday. And because of that, the Dolphins have 2 of the top 6 running backs in fantasy, in addition to Tua, ranked number 3, Tyreek Hill ranked number 2, respectively on their rankings. Then you're looking at more from Josh Allen, more from Stephon Diggs. The Bills' defense, despite being the Bills are actually tied for first for the season with Dallas for cumulative fantasy points accumulated. So, but they're only projected to score 3.3, which I think might tell you something about something.
Yeah, because I have this game as the highest combined point total for the week.
Yep, as I noticed, we go to the Minnesota Vikings and the Carolina Panthers. I really like some of these matchups, especially when you look at Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins, who could very well be traded to the Jets when it's all said and done, when the wheels stop spinning at the Week 8 trade deadline.
Yeah, well, the Jets didn't make a move earlier today. I don't know if you guys heard about that. What is it? Trevor Siemian?
Trevor Siemian, yep.
So I think that about shuts the door on that.
Yeah, but I think for the purposes of this, I think it's all about the salary cap and all that. Why I don't think they might trade for Kirk Cousins after all. But anyway, Bryce Young is still questionable for Carolina after not being able to go on Sunday for Carolina against Seattle. But you're still expecting more from Miles Sanders. We'll see how that's going to turn out there. And then this is the type of game that I'm very sure Tim would like. Yeah, the garbage game of the week between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. So both of these teams are desperately looking for a win there. I think, and I think all of us are trending in the same direction. On that, we got the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. Any problems with these projections, Natalie?
Let's see. Let me take a look here. I mean, I think Ford could be a tad bit higher, but otherwise not bad there. Let me see.
But the thing with the Browns though is that I think it says this the second week with Kareem Hunt back in the fold. So I think maybe the Browns are going to try to incorporate Kareem Hunt more. So that's maybe why Ford's number is down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think Hunt got the first carry in the opening game last time around. Hunt was initially used first, I think. But we got to be patient with this. We're still kind of figuring them out here.
Yeah, then you got the Cleveland Browns. Their defense is ranked number 4, and,
Mhm.
and look at that. Look at that. Dustin Hopkins is the 8th ranked kicker in fantasy after the Chargers let him go.
Wow.
And by the way, this is another example of why you shouldn't be drafting kickers until the last couple of rounds
Right.
of your fantasy draft. But I digress. Now,
Exactly.
Pittsburgh Steelers going up against D'Amico Ryan to the Houston Texans. I feel like some of these numbers are fair. I think those the cumulative numbers I think might fall down to earth a little bit here, but I think the Steelers should be able to take care of business despite the Texans having 3 receivers projected at 10 points and more with Tank Dell, who was terrific. And how about CJ Stroud? I think the most underrated story of Week 3 in the NFL was CJ Stroud was tremendous for the Texans on Sunday against Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, future's bright for them. Definitely not a playoff team yet by any means, but the future is bright.
Yeah, I remember I said all summer, don't sleep on the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyway, now we're on to the LA Rams and the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, Kyron Williams, his lackluster performance probably determined some fantasy football matchups because he only scored like 8 points, where he really should have had a lot more, if we're being honest here. But the Rams weren't able to run block. We'll see if they can change the course on that against the Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson, who was questionable, but the Colts won on Sunday in Baltimore with Gardner Minshew as the quarterback, and he was great. And Matt Gay, who was my sit-em for the kickers, he had the first player in NFL history with 4 field goals of 50 or more yards in a single game. But we know kickers are week to week. On a week-to-week basis in the National Football League, as you noted in your segment, Alvin Kamara is coming back on Sunday after serving the 3-game suspension. It was originally a 4-game suspension, but that got trimmed down to 3. So that was actually a big factor in me with the Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and who I was going to pick. I feel like Kamara coming back it makes a big difference there, and one of the receivers I was considering for my sit-ems was Mike Evans because Mike Evans going up against Marshawn Lattimore once again because they have a pretty substantial history of fighting and Marshawn Lattimore locking him up in coverage and leading to fights, to ejections, to some fines. So Mike Evans against Marshawn Lattimore another round between those two hated rivals is on tap this Sunday when the Buccaneers travel to play the division rival Saints. So we're looking at Sam Howell against Jalen Hurts. I don't know how that's a fair fight, and also the wide receivers with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I mean, interesting that ESPN's still ranking A.J. Brown a little higher than Devontae Smith after the first 2 weeks. But hey, I'm not the one that makes the projections there. We got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Tennessee Titans. I mean, Joe Burrow had his best game. Joe Mixon had his best game. Jamar Chase had his best game last night in the victory over Tennessee, over the Rams. And then Derrick Henry, who had some big time bust potential, is only ranked number 21 at the running back position. It's not, and I know that's for you, Tim, because I think you drafted Derrick Henry in our league.
Yeah, it was that first pick from a few years ago, and really came through for me. But it's almost like not quite playing to what I've been expecting, but I mean, he's still trying to work it for those guys.
So yeah, but also don't forget all of the offensive line that made Derrick Henry the superstar he is. None of those 5 starters are there anymore.
Right.
Huge difference there.
Then we got the Raiders and the Chargers. I mean, Justin Herbert has been QB1 in fantasy. Keenan Allen's been the WR1 in fantasy. and I think they have very favorable matchups against the Raiders. But mind you, Jimmy Garoppolo is they still have a number for Jimmy Garoppolo. But if he can't go, Blaine Gabbert is going to be no, actually not Blaine Gabbert. Brian Hoyer is going to be the starter for the Raiders if Garoppolo can't go. And on that front, we got the Patriots and the Cowboys with Mac Jones against Dak Prescott at the quarterback position. Because they are ranking a little bit low on the Cowboys, but one player that's been trending upward is Jake Ferguson, who is now the 11th ranked tight end in fantasy through 3 weeks. Tim,
Yeah, he's getting up there, second-year guy, and he did pretty good in his rookie year, so he's done pretty good. Of course, we got the backup Peyton Hendershot, who can come in time to time. So, and they still have Cowboys still with the number 1 defensive special teams, even though it was kind of questionable last week. But
I was telling Natalia while you were gone, the Cowboys and the Bills are tied for number 1 in terms of points for the first 3 weeks because remember the Bills had 34 fantasy points, which was the reason Natalia was able to stay undefeated and take down Alex.
all right.
So, yeah, and then Rico Dow, I think he from what I saw, I think he got 14 points on Sunday in the Cowboys loss to the Rams to the Cardinals. So that was interesting to look at that. We have three more games left. We got the Arizona Cardinals, the San Francisco 49ers. This doesn't look like a fair fight at all, especially when you're looking at Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. So you got the 49ers defense. I mean, look at the projections with San Francisco's defense and Arizona's defense. I think they're telling a pretty story about that one. Then we look at the Chiefs and the Jets with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, the Chiefs defense. All top 10 in their respective categories. I would like the Chiefs to actually go into Isaiah Pacheco because I felt like the Chiefs were different when Pacheco became the number 1 running back after Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't able to get the job done for Kansas City. And then you look at the Zach Wilson projected at 12.2 points, which I believe is the lowest of all 32 quarterbacks in terms of the projections for this upcoming weekend. And I think hence why I feel like Garrett Wilson only scored like 7.8 points last week in fantasy. So I feel like the play of Zach Wilson is going to impact the rest of the Jets players for fantasy purposes on that front. Even the Jets defense, special teams, doesn't feel like a fair fight at all. And then we have the rounding out it is the Seahawks and the New York Football Giants and still, it's Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell, and Isaiah Hodgins, the three highest ranked players in terms of the receiver position. The ESPN still doesn't think that Saquon Barkley is going to be back in year for Week 4. It's probably going to be more towards Week 5 or 6 when it comes to that between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, who are actually the next 2 opponents for the New York Football Giants on that front.
All
right, and then we will also make sure we still have one more thing that is on the I believe that's on the agenda for you. Let me pull it up if I can, and it is our Week 4 NFL picks against the spreads. Now I need to get this up there. So give me a minute before I actually get this up. Righty then. All right, here we go.
Here we are. Here's our picks.
Yeah, and of course, last week was bad for me, unacceptable to my standards. I went 6-10 with the winners. I went 0 for 4 in the solo picks because I had a bunch of them, and they were not pretty whatsoever here. So I'm hoping the comeback starts today. I'm 22, 25-1 against the spread. I'm trailing both of you now. The tally is a game ahead of me. Going after we went 10-6 last week, and Tim is 5 games over 500 picking the games against the spread here. So now here are our picks for week number 4 in the National Football League. This was a tricky game for me, but I feel we all agree here on the Green Bay Packers. That was a tricky one to pick, in my opinion. We all have the Jaguars winning and covering against the Atlanta Falcons. So with Tim and I going with the Buffalo Bills, but going with the Miami Dolphins is John Natale. So
I went with Bills. I went with Bills. I think did I type it wrong?
I think you might have picked Miami, but let me check here.
Yeah,
You did pick the Buffalo Bills to take down the Miami Dolphins. I swear I don't think I read it correctly. It's because what I saw was Dolphins 33-30, but I definitely digress there. And would you look at that, John, with John Natale with the Vikings and the Panthers?
Oh my goodness.
Somebody has to win. When in doubt, pick the home team.
But the Vikings the Vikings have Kirk Cousins and that offense, and I don't know if Carolina is exactly ready for that. But I digress. But
I'm hoping for Justin Jefferson to make a big showing this week, even though I don't have him on any of my teams.
Yeah, I mean, we all agree on the Denver Broncos winning the. Yeah, the garbage game of the week there, with both teams being outscored by a combined 81 points over this week. So we all agree on the Denver Broncos. Natalia and I are sharing a brain with the Cleveland Browns. Tim is going to pick the Baltimore Ravens, going up against the Browns. We all have the Steelers winning and covering. So I went the other way with the Rams because I think the coaching and the quarterback, I think it favors the Los Angeles Rams on that front. But both of you took the Indianapolis Colts. I was considering taking Tampa to get the win on the road, but I think Alvin Kamara coming back is going to make a big difference, and it's going to allow them to run the ball more effectively on that front. We all have the Philadelphia Eagles winning, but both you and Tim and Natale have the Commanders covering because it's 8.5 point spread. I know you read 3, but it was actually 8.5. I cannot believe you guys are picking the Tennessee Titans. I think the Bengals have it going on, and Joe Burrow said in his post game that there weren't any setbacks with his calf, and my stardom defense of the week, I believe, was the Cincinnati Bengals. I think it's going to be a bloodbath for the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. We all have the Chargers winning, but Natale has the Raiders with the points. We all have both of us, Natale and I, have the Cowboys to win and cover. And Tim thinks that Mac Jones is going to cover a 7-point spread against the league's number one fantasy defense. We all have San Francisco winning. Both Natalia and I have the same score. Tim has the 49ers, has the Arizona Cardinals covering. We all have the Chiefs winning and covering. And I think the most interesting aspect of the entire of our pick slots and our pick segment this week is that Tim's picking the Giants. I'm a Giants fan picking the Seahawks. Natalia is a Giants fan picking the Seattle Seahawks. So I
only did it for one reason only. Bad Monday Night Football juju. If it was a different day, I would have picked the Giants.
Yeah, no, and also the reason why I picked against the Giants is because Daniel Jones is 1-11 in his career in prime time in the
Right.
regular season.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. But just that bad Monday night juju. If it was a regular Sunday afternoon game, I would have picked the Giants.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, but I will say, I will agree with Andrew. I'm taking the 49ers.
Yeah.
That's probably mine too. I think that's the biggest spread I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of us have the same lock of the week essentially.
Yeah, I say my largest spread in terms of winners and losers is the Chiefs over the Jets. I mean, Patrick Mahomes against Zach Wilson is just not a fair fight.
That's right. So I guess the Chiefs would be your lock, while the rest of us have the Niners.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds pretty good. Oh, did I miss something up here in the comment section? Oh,
yes.
Did we say hello to A Pizzle?
Hey, Alex.
Good to see you, bro. See you tomorrow night.
Yep, and we also have Lucas who says hello.
Yes, what's up? What's up?
Hey, Lucas.
Pizzle feeling pretty good for the Steelers, and of course, Lucas feeling good for the Steelers. A Pizzle and I need going crazy for those Dolphins after this past week. Wow.
Yeah.
So I guess with that being said, I guess we can put a wrap on this one. A very good show here. Flynn, talk to us about Hooked on Sports.
As I guess we went through a lot of the topics in the about the hot topics similar to what we have on our podcast about the NFL. I also threw in some college. Andrew of course mentioned the Oregon Colorado game. And how that was a bloodbath for Deion Sanders. I also mentioned Florida State taking down Clemson. That was a gigantic deal because Florida State passed the two big tests they needed to pass in order for them to be considered a college football playoff team. Now, of course, they got to make sure they don't fall into the trap of not having serious competition until the ACC championship game, but also more importantly for college was that Ohio State found a way to beat Notre Dame. That was a terrific game, went down to the wire, and that Notre Dame loss is going to sting for a while. That's because Notre Dame had everything this year, but they weren't able to get the job done. And also on the last play, Notre Dame only had 10 guys on the field on defense.
Yeah. Well, college football is getting pretty crazy as the NFL season has been so far. So, only time will tell what happens between now and this coming weekend. So, y'all be sure to listen to Hooked on Sports with John Flynn. We've got those links in the description area. Click on any one of those, and you are right there.
Yeah.
So, actually, I'm kind of glad you changed your lighting thing. I mean, I like the blue on you, but I guess it doesn't bring out your, I mean, the blue is okay. I like this color. To me, it kind of looks kind of turquoise-ish.
So the color I have, so the lights are white, but because the walls are painted blue, it's blue. So if I do red, it looks a lot different.
Right.
And blue and white.
Know. Red, white, and blue. Hey, you gotta love an all-American guy right there.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and put a wrap on this edition of Fantasy Football People. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Remember, this is Hooked on Sports. And be with us next week, same time, same bat channel. So, any final thoughts? Wait, I do have one final thought. Well, actually, a question. Does this thing with Travis and Taylor go far?
Yeah.
Guess only time will tell.
Oh yeah.
But I guess you're guaranteed one thing. There's going to be a lot of songs to come out of this, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One other thing that's probably. I was about to make a smart aleck comment, but one thing that is a guarantee that will last. Jason Kelsey and DeAndre Swift being teammates.
Jason Kelsey and DeAndre Swift. Now that will be a different story.
And about that turned out to be a heck of a trade by Howie Roseman. What that was another Howie Rose special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But basically, I think that's another story for another day. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for another great show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And of course, kudos to our friend, our defending champion, Andrew St. Clair, for joining us. So we'll see y'all next week, same time, same place. For John Flynn, for John Natali, for Andrew St. Clair, and everyone who's been a part of this one, including my imaginary bodyguard Charlie, who threw that one guy out of here in the chat. Good job, Charlie. I'm gonna give you a bonus in your paycheck next week. Tim McClellan here. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games, everyone. God bless you. And as always, be a good sport. See ya.